most probably would come. But to what end? The new member of parliament has already been sworn in and is already working. He's the one who is deciding where the CDF is going to go. Today we have a president. Even if we were to call, even if Wajakoya was to call his supporters and tell them to go to the streets and resist President Ruto, to what end? President Ruto is out going around the world borrowing money on behalf of Kenya. He's making decisions about schools. He's making decisions about taxes. So when you call people and you tell them to come outside and refuse to acknowledge that Ruto is the president, what exactly are you doing? We need to move forward. And this narrative that we need to heal also needs to disappear. Losing an election is not a disease. You just wake up, you dust yourself, you move on, prepare for the next one if you want to play again. We watched World Cup in December, and one team lost the finals. 11 people. They went home knowing that they had lost that election, that competition. 4 years later, they're most probably going to be back. That is how we need to run our country. When we go to an election, we need to agree when an election is finished. Today I listened to my brothers and sisters from Azimio trying to convince us that the last election of August 22nd, 2022 is not finished. It is finished. As young people say, imeenda kabisa. If the reason we are being called for mass action is so that we can do something about the IEBC, let us have that conversation. If the conversation or why we are being asked to come to the streets is so that we can talk about taxes, let us have that conversation. Let politicians stop thinking that this world is about them. It is not. 50 million Kenyans right now are worried about the cost of living. That is not the primary conversation you're hearing when you tell us to go out and have demonstrations or have mass action. Because let's be honest, these calls for barazas are ultimately meant to end in mass action. We are looking for sympathy. We want the police to come to the streets up against their brothers and sisters who are their fellow Kenyans who are civilians and have a violent engagement. We want tear gas to be thrown so that the country, the world can see Kenyans have not agreed on the last election. Why? So that we can negotiate. For what? For personal positions. Recently, somebody asked, today, Raila's daughter is a member of parliament for Yala, sent by this government. Kalonzo's son is a member of parliament for Yala, sent by this government. So when you wake up and tell us that you do not recognize this government, what are you saying? We need to be honest. There are so many things today we need to be talking about. The last election is not one of them. The last election has gone. We need to fix IEBC. Yes. We have numbers in parliament. We have opportunities. We have very, very many other avenues. Petitions. We have very many things we can do. But calling Kenyans to come out to the streets so that we can go into violence is the wrong thing. And let us be honest. We have seen this script before. I have heard people saying that we need to be very careful. Moi was forced into cooperation with Raila Odinga. Kibaki was forced into a coalition government with Raila Odinga. Uhuru was forced into a handshake. It is Ruto's turn. And for all we know, for all intents and purposes, Raila might actually succeed in getting Ruto to come and sit with him. But we have to ask ourselves, and then what? And then what? Are we able to sit as a country and agree that when an election is finished, it is finished? That the role of the opposition is to then now hold this new government to account and not keep taking us back to what things were before the government that exists. Today, Ruto is a president. If you want to know that he's a president, try and stand in the way of his vehicles or his entourage when he's passing. And you tell me what will happen to you. He's a president, whether we like it or not. Rigiji is the deputy president, whatever you think about him. And I think it is dishonorable to the Kenyan population and to our laws to stand up and say that you do not recognize that person. Because the reason today we talk about the former Prime Minister, Raila Odinga, is because in that government, he became the Prime Minister. Kibaki is a retired president because of that. Uhuru is a retired president. Kalonzo is a retired vice president because of their seasons during that time. I'm a former member of parliament. That period I was a member of parliament had challenges, but that was that season. I think I want to call out to my colleagues from my SG, Jeremiah Kioni. And I'm very, very happy about Sabina Chege. And I know people are very upset with her. She says she's not a fool. She will not go to the streets. I think as Kenyans, we also need to ask ourselves what is required to take us to the street. Can the people of Nyeri go to the street because Gonjiri is unhappy with the results of his member of parliament position? Can the people of Nyeri County go to the streets because, for example, Noah Agoko is unhappy about the results of the county governor position? Why do we imagine that we can take people to the streets? Because it's so easy to manipulate people. When you are politicians, two people who can manipulate people are politicians and religious leaders. We know how to turn people on, so to speak. Are we using that capacity to build our country or to destroy it? I can call people, anybody who has run for office can call 1,000 people or 500 people. But to what end? I think it is very, very important for our leaders to take responsibility of that position of leadership and use it to build, not to destroy. And this goes also to those leaders in government. From President RUTO, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the cabinet ministers, the members of parliament on the government side, the members of parliament on the opposition side, and even those who are independent. Once an election is over, the first order of business must be to bring the country together. Which is why I actually pointed out this issue of RUTO going to Nyanza was so powerful. Because he went to Nyanza and said, I know you guys didn't vote for me. 99% of people didn't vote for me, but I want to assure you that I will work for you the same way I'll work for the people who voted for me. I think we need to get to a point where Raila Odinga also needs to say the same thing. The election did not go the way I wanted. Let's now move to the next step. How do you want me to represent you as an opposition leader? We need to move away from the last election. We cannot keep claiming that election was stolen. I was in the government side from 2017 to 2022. There is nothing that RUTO did that we did not try to do. He just did it better than us. And I think sometimes it's important to give credit where it is due. The odds of RUTO becoming president in the circumstances in which we were operating were very, very low. He made it. He's going to be president for 4.5 years as we speak. Why not hold him to accountable now as you prepare for the next 4.5 years? If you keep getting stuck with the last election, you will never win. And maybe it's a part of the reason why we never actually progress. And you cannot win an election if you never accept that you lost the last one. Because you have to accept you lost the last one, to analyze yourself, to review what you did to improve yourself. If you keep insisting you did not lose the election, you will never win the next one. Because then it means you're not learning anything from the last loss. So I want to urge Raila Odinga, a man I have a lot of respect for. I think it is time to take a back seat and to look at this scenario again. What happened in 2022? What are the lessons to learn? And prepare for 2027. If it is about the IEBC, let's deal with the IEBC as the IEBC. Let's not cheat Kenyans that we are refusing the elections so that we can mobilize to deal with the IEBC. Let's also ask Kenyans what they want us to talk about. Let's stop being selfish. Let's stop just dealing with our issues, with our positions, with our losses. Let's talk about electricity tariffs being high. Let's talk about subsidies being removed from fuel and school fees and food and agricultural products. Let's talk the language that Kenyans want us to talk so that we can carry everybody forward and prepare to hold this government to account. That is what I want to say this week. As I wait for the weekend, because I hear there's going to be another rally, I really pray that Kenyans will be peaceful. Kenyans, do not allow us as politicians to manipulate you for our own selfish needs. That is my prayer as I finish this particular episode for this week. God bless you.